Hey everybody, welcome back to the Game Informer Show, a weekly podcast covering the video game industry. Join us every Thursday for a discussion about the latest gaming news, reviews, and exclusive reveals alongside Game Informer staff and special guests from around the industry. I'm one of your hosts today, joined by Marcus Stewart. How you doing, Marcus?
Good. Feeling spooky because I gotta talk about a scary game today.
Yeah, you're going to be talking about Silent Hill F later on in the show. You went hands-on with the game, as well as Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, which we'll get into in a bit. But before that, we have to introduce the newest member of Game Informer, our next full-time hire. It's Eric Van Allen. Hello.
Hello. No longer a guest, now permanently a fixture of this. I'm like those guys in Pirates of the Caribbean that get like barnacled to the ship now. I've been here too long.
Yeah.
And
You've been barnacled.
absorbed.
You punched enough holes in your membership cards and you could turn that in for full like employment. That's how
That's a great membership card, I will say.
It's a really good membership card.
If you guest on
free
the show
coffee or
enough
full-time employment.
Yeah, it's a little known fact about how the industry works. That's just how you get hired anywhere. We all have little cards when we guest on other people's podcasts. Yeah.
Oh yeah. He finally cashed in. Well, Eric, welcome. You are our newest video editor, our second video editor. It's great to have some company. So welcome officially. Do you want to kind of like, before we get started, I didn't tell you we were going to talk about this, but I figured, why not? Let's give listeners a little more detail about you. What is the work that you've done in the industry? And then tell us some of your favorite games and what makes Eric tick.
Oh no, I have to talk about me. Oh no.
Yeah.
This is therapy hour, all right. Hi, I'm Eric. You might know me from Destructoid, from US Gamer. If you've been following me for a long time, you might know me from Compete. I kind of started out in the competitive games realm and then moved my way into games proper, but I've always kind of been a player of either competitive games, League of Legends, Dota 2, stuff like that, or RPGs, which feels like the polar opposite side of the spectrum. Long time.
Chocolate and vanilla.
Yeah, they go great together. Well, chocolate and peanut butter, really, when you think about it. Because what is Dota if not a competitive RPG when you think about it, right? Like, it's the same thing. I also am a co-host over on Axe of the Blood God, an independent RPG podcast with Kat Bailey and Nadia Oxford, and I also co-host Norm DFM with Kenneth Shepard, which is a game club style podcast where we play back through old games and kind of do critical dissections of them. We've done everything from Mass Effect, which is where we got our namesake, up through Final Fantasy X, The Last of Us, Cyberpunk, stuff like that. So I've kind of been a lot of places. As for my favorite games, they do kind of hew towards either RPGs. Final Fantasy X has always held a very special place in my heart. Mass Effect, especially the first one, or I don't know, some like oddball games. I love Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor. I love The World Ends With You. I really like tactical games, Valkyria Chronicles, or even odd indie games. Citizen Sleeper is a pretty high one. 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. Just anything that feels a little bit off the beaten path kind of catches my eye. So yeah, that's me.
I feel like you are kind of filling a space that we've had open for a little while in terms of some of those games. So I'm sure listeners will be happy to have a representative of the sicko weirdo games. I think it'll be great.
The sickos are going to thrive.
Yeah, and by that I mean League of Legends. That's what I'm talking about.
Do you have a controversial video game take that you can?
Oh yeah. Let's get people mad.
You can share. Yeah, we need people. Yeah, just get on it.
I do have one I had to rescind recently because I grew up. So obviously RPGs in my life, Final Fantasy X was a huge one. When I was young, I tried playing Final Fantasy IX and I did not vibe with it whatsoever. It was totally not my thing. And so for eons, I was like, oh, Final Fantasy IX, I don't know why anybody likes that one. I recently started a playthrough, like I'm talking 2 weeks ago, started a playthrough of Final Fantasy IX. I'm not saying it's like a secret actual best one. It is, but it is pretty good. It is pretty good. I'll give you all that.
I was gonna say, careful. Better. It's the 25th anniversary this year.
I know. Hey, you asked me for controversy. You asked me for heat. It is better than I thought it would be, but it is also made me go back on a previous stance that I used to take, which was I want to see fewer remakes, remasters. I want to see more spin-offs, interesting new ideas within IP. I rescind that take for Final Fantasy IX, which absolutely needs a remaster of some kind. I tried playing it on my Switch and it runs like it's running on the PS1. Man, that needs an update ASAP. So if we can get on that, that'd be great. But yeah, Final Fantasy IX, better than I thought it was. That's my hot take.
That used to be the subtitle before they cut that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was Final Fantasy IX the was that our preview that got clipped out on social media and we called Vivi like skid mark or something back in like 2001?
None of us here. This is long before our time. This is when the game.
I don't actually know who wrote that.
It was when the game. I don't think it had come out yet. I think it was. Like,
no, it didn't.
Yeah, so this
and
is
we didn't know anything about the characters, and so some wise ass was trying to be funny
in a different era. In a different era.
We gotta start previewing games like that again,
right?
Yeah, we do. Oh, woof! It was bad, but it made me laugh. So shout out to that relic. Well, Eric, thank you for joining us on the show today. We're excited to have you. I think you'll be a recurring face on the show going forward. So try to be cool, just try to be chill. You know what I mean?
I've been doing that my whole life.
Yeah. We keep it chill here on the Game Informer show.
Cool as ice. Just
cool
like
as ice. That's what we say. Listeners, I just want to say thank you for the love on recent episodes. Saw last week that our Bloodlines 2 podcast was doing pretty well on YouTube. So thank you all for your interest in that. If we have any new listeners from the Reddit or the subreddit rather, or other places you might have found us from that video, thank you and welcome. We normally have less of a preamble before we get into the show. Who am I kidding? That's not true at all, but we're going to try to get into it here in a second. Just want to say this podcast is brought to you by Game Informer Magazine. Please consider getting a print or digital subscription, and that is the best way to help us out. If you're one of the folks who is having issues getting your first issue delivered, we actually did publish a form. Check your inbox if you were somebody who had a Game Informer account within I guess before the last, I think in June. If you had one by June, then you should have gotten an email. And if you're one of those people who purchased a magazine and you haven't seen it yet, let us know. We're running into some issues with USPS, and we're trying to just make sure we're doing everything on our front to get everybody what they're owed. So if for some reason there's been a delay with USPS or some other issue, we want to make sure that gets solved, and we're on top of it. We are. It is an active conversation. We're making sure it doesn't happen in the future, but of course we want to make it right for those of you who have been impacted by that. However many that is. So we kind of want to just, we'd love for you to fill out that form, and we will make things right for you. So I appreciate your patience on that. But for the folks who are signing up, you have until I think August 6th to get our Bloodlines 2 issue physical. That comes with a free double-sided D&D print poster as well for print subscribers. So now's a great time to go sign up. GameInformer.com/subscribe. I'm going to be getting on a plane next week, headed to our next cover story trip with someone else on the team, and that'll be our third issue. It's going to be a cool one. So now's a great time to get in on kind of the ground floor of what we're building here, and it's an exciting time to be working at Game Informer and to be a fan. So thank you for sitting through that spiel. I'll just say one more time, GameInformer.com/subscribe if you're interested in getting a magazine. Let's get into the show proper, guys. Marcus, I'm going to throw it over to you. You've been playing Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. Wesley LeBlanc was the one who published his review for us, and it seemed like he really liked it. But Wes is over in China right now for work and can't join us on the podcast. But I know that he was really, really impressed with it and gave it a 9.5 actually. Not to kind of color our conversation here like that, but just for readers, it seems like this is a pretty good entry in that series. So Marcus, I'll hand it over to you. Tell us about Ninja Gaiden Ragebound.
Yeah, I haven't played nearly as much as Wesley, so I would definitely encourage listeners to read his review to get a more sort of like a better idea of the full scope of what the game has to offer. I've only started it the night before. Like, I'm currently in the second act of the game, where I'm playing as the second protagonist, the Black Spider Clan woman. But the idea of the game is that it's a new 2D Ninja Gaiden game, going back to the series roots on NES as part of the Year of Ninja Gaiden. Really, this is the second of what will be 3 Ninja Gaiden releases this year, following the Ninja Gaiden 2 Black at the beginning of the year, and the Ninja Gaiden.
It's kind of hard to keep up with, honestly.
Yeah, it's like the Ninja Gaiden 4 in like October, and then like separately of those, there's the new Shinobi game that comes out not too long from now. Pretty soon, I believe. So yeah, this is just, we just needed Strider to come back, and this will like complete the Year of the Ninja. But, yeah,
and Tenchu,
which I will happily take.
Tenchu back too.
Yeah, Tenchu, I'll take that too.
I would kill for a new Tenchu.
Yeah,
I mean, Sekiro is technically a new Tenchu. It started as a Tenchu game before it became Sekiro, so it's got a little bit of Tenchu left in that game.
It's got some Tenchu DNA. It's definitely not a Tenchu game.
I mean, you can tell that it was at one point a Tenchu
My favorite
game.
part of Tenchu 1 was in the headless ape came back to kill me.
Yeah, after I threw him a pork bun and then he came back. I'm like, oh no. But yes, Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. So new 2D game, set in the NES timeline. Like, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, I want to say it takes place after Ninja Gaiden 1 on NES, I believe. Where
I'll look it up.
Ryu Hayabusa, who you do not play as, he has to take off to America to basically go play the sequel's adventure. Did you look it up?
I thought you were going to say to go play volleyball, because I will tell you that most of my understanding of Ryu Hayabusa is through Dead or Alive, because I believe that is the Dead or Alive character, correct? To me, that is the Dead or Alive character.
You just upset so many more people other than your Final Fantasy IX hot take.
I'm sorry, I didn't play Ninja Gaiden.
You only know Ryu Hayabusa from Dead or Alive
I
Beach
played
Volleyball.
from Dead or Alive, the series, of which there is
series,
beach
not the
volleyball
beach volleyball.
within it.
Okay.
I played Dead or Alive 3 and Dead or Alive 5 quite a bit.
Yes, I mean, those are good games. Dead or Alive's good fighting games.
I did look it up for you. It's set alongside the events of the first one.
Okay, so Ninja Gaiden 1. So that story is happening parallel to this one. So when Ryu runs off to go deal with that, you play as sort of an apprentice of his named Kenji, and you are dealing with a separate crisis as the Hayabusa village is attacked by invading demons, and the military gets involved, and you don't know what is happening, but you've kind of taken it upon yourself to be like, well, Ryu, you go do your stuff, go help your father. I think I can hold things down here. And this is also worth noting, this is made by the Blasphemous developer. The Game Kitchen, yeah. So, you know, any Blasphemous fans out there might want to pay attention to this, because those games are good. Some good Metroidvanias. This is not a Metroidvania. This is just a straight up traditional 2D action game, where, you are running and slicing demons apart in the way that you would in a traditional Ninja Gaiden game. It feels good. I will say, like, the action feels very fluid and fast paced. You've got a basic sword attack, but you can do a dodge roll. You can kind of dodge jump. And kind of one of the central mechanics is that you have this sort of this double jump move that you can use. Like, you can bounce off of projectiles, whether it's a projectile attack or just maybe like a stage hazard. But the game plays with that a lot, where they kind of task you like, hey, get past this gap by maybe jumping on top of this shuriken that this guy's throwing at you. Maybe time it right. Or like, hey, this pit is shooting fireballs upwards at you, so you need to time that so you can just like kind of like hop across. Okay. While also simultaneously maybe cutting down a flying threat, whether it's like weird ninjas on like jetpacks or the hawks that Ninja Gaiden has always been notorious for.
Does it kind of slow down to give you time to reflect a little bit? Like, when you reflect, are you like, I'm thinking of something like Ori and the Blind Forest, right? There's similar projectiles in that you can kind of use to kind of reflect off of?
Oh no.
Are you using them to platform, or you're purely reflecting them?
No, you're using them to platform. Like,
okay.
Yeah. Gotcha. So like time doesn't slow at all. Like it's all happening in I guess real time. Like you can also hit projectiles. Like if someone throws a shuriken at you, you can hit it with your sword, but it doesn't send it back at them. It just sort of knocks it away.
It just kind of deflects away. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like another form of defense if you can't just dodge it outright. But that seems to be the crutch of just like how a lot of the level design is. It's just like having really deviously designed stages where it's like, okay, how am I supposed to get past this? There's a lot of stuff coming at me at the same time. And it's almost got like at least from what I see in these early hours, kind of an order of operations to it, because some enemies you can just destroy immediately, but then other more powerful enemies that have this kind of blue glow around them, they can only be killed with this, I forget the name of it, but it's essentially like a special charge attack. And you can either attack certain enemies that have the glow that are smaller, and then when you kill them, you absorb their energy, and your next attack is this charge attack that can one-shot the bigger kind of blue glowy enemies. You can kill them the old-fashioned way. It just takes longer. So it's kind of encouraged of like, okay, there's a little floating skull here. He's got a blue glow. I'm going to kill that guy, absorb the blue glow, and then I'm going to use that power to kill this bigger guy that's in my way. But you have to do it quickly because the glow power fades after a few seconds. So you kind of just got to like act. And then because of that, there is like an order of operations. Like, okay, there's 3 guys here. One of them's a big glowy guy. There's another smaller glowy thing here. I should probably kill that small glowy guy first, use the few seconds I have to kill the big glowy guy immediately, and then go back and kill the guy that's just a normal enemy that I can just take out. And there's a tutorial in the beginning with Ryu that sort of kind of helps get you in the habit of doing that. Like there's some like very quick but kind of well done combat trials where they do pit you against different enemy combinations, and they just like, hey, figure this out. It's like half puzzle almost, because it's like a time limit too. So that's pretty cool. I like that so far. It sort of encourages you to sort of like within the span of like a second, just quickly analyze the battlefield as you're moving around and just sort of picking who you're going to attack and when, and what's like the optimum way to do that, on top of often platforming at the same time too. So it's got that NES Ninja Gaiden kind of like franticness to it. But at the same time, like the game is challenging, but at least in the first couple of acts, it hasn't become like unbearably difficult. And just reading Wesley's review, it doesn't seem like it gets to that point. Like it seems like it's hard, but it doesn't become like NES hard. Now, granted, that's different for every person. Wes is like me, like him and I are kind of like the 2 Souls people on staff, and not that this is a Souls game, but him and I both like difficult games, basically. So like his bar for difficulty might be like, it might not be as high or as low for him as it is for others that are a little more averse to that stuff.
You're given the tools, and it is fairly manageable in your experience.
Yeah, like every time I've died, it's been like I took that jump wrong, I timed that wrong, or sometimes it's like you're a pixel off, like I should have landed a little short because you have like pretty decent air control. So it's like, okay, if I bounce off this projectile and maybe land just short of this guy and not on top of him where I take damage, because I can't attack downwards, you can only attack straight ahead. So you kind of have to account for all that. And I think the first boss fight is kind of a good test of sort of managing your maneuverability on top of your just how quick you are hitting that sword, because it's like the faster you tap that attack button, the more damage you'll do. So but it's fun.
It looks great. Like I'm watching like a stream on Steam above the product page, and it's just like seeing some of the character designs on display. Like there's a really cool like cyborg demon that shoots a giant eyeball out of his stomach. That looks like really fun to mess with and to have to dodge. And also just like the environments are so detailed. Have you had any like standout biomes that you've really enjoyed being in, or have you not really had a chance to kind of see many of them since you're only 1 act deep or so?
Yeah, like nothing that stands out yet. Like I said, I'm only on act 2. Like the first act, you're kind of just in Hayabusa Village. There was a prologue, but it's in a forest that you eventually revisit in the first act, which is like, it all looks good, but I haven't seen anything that's like blown my mind yet. The other big thing with this game is that there's two different protagonists. So there's Kenji, and then there is a woman who is part of the Black Spider clan, which is sort of the rival clan to the Hayabusa clan. So she eventually becomes your partner. And I only know this part because I played the Steam Next Fest demo where they kind of jump you forward in the game and you get to play kind of like what is the real game. Because she kind of just like somehow just gets inside of Kenji. And so she's just like in you and in almost like a like in a ghost form, for lack of a better term, where you can kind of use her power as Kenji and occasionally play as her during designated sections, because you'll hit like an item that sort of like draws her out and she's like, I can handle this, you stay back. And the differences between them is that she throws kunai, so she's entirely projectile based. She can still do the like projectile kind of bounce thing that Kenji can do, but other than that, as far as I can tell, like ranged combat is her speciality. And she also has the thing of like, oh, if she attacks certain colored enemies, and in her case it's pink, she'll get like a charged attack for her next attack. But yeah, I haven't totally unlocked that system yet, so I don't know how like deep that goes in terms of how the game utilizes that.
So is it like Curse of the Moon, like Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, where you're just kind of like doing a little poof and then like you swap to a different character? Or like I'm still caught up on the the physical consequences of the character swapping. Like, is it a Marvel tag in, or are we like just swapping? Like, are you just kind of like changing on a dime?
Yeah, I can only go again from the demo, and it's been months or however long it's been since I played that demo. As far as I could tell, it reminded me of like Kenji is driving the ship and she is in the passenger seat until you reach a certain area where you hit an item and then she takes over. But Kenji is like still like it's not like she takes over his body or anything. She just kind of comes out and Kenji stays behind, and she has to do a little section that only she can do until you get back to Kenji. Like she'll basically open up a path for him.
Oh, okay. So she is still like corporeal. Like she is still a person that is like going in and doing stuff.
As far as I can tell, I don't know the narrative like sort of context for it yet, because at the point that I'm at in the game in Act 2 when I introduce her, she is still very much her own person. Like she has not met Kenji yet, so they're kind of setting her up as like, oh, this is what she's doing over here, and I assume that's going to end with, and then something happened to her to where she and Kenji, or actually they have met, but then you get like like maybe she dies or something, and she's like, listen, I need to put my soul in you or something like that. It's
like Piccolo and Nail in the Namek saga of Dragon Ball Z. Now I'm winning fans back. I'm winning people over. It's like Piccolo and Nail. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, trying to aura farm like Piccolo. I see.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I wonder if it's even more like if we're going to keep using anime comparisons, like is it like a Yu-Gi-Oh thing of like, is she the pharaoh to Kenji's Yugi, and she takes over during special times, but otherwise it's Kenji driving the ship.
Or Yuji and Sukuna from JJK, something like that. I gotta drop something to get people on my side here. Anime fans, I got you.
Yeah, Alex, we're gonna need an anime reference from you in a second. You wanna?
Yeah, I was just thinking, is it like in Full Metal Alchemist? You know how Alphonse's spirit is tied to a suit of armor, but he is physically not there. He is inside it. He is within it, but he does not have a physical form.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
That's not as terrible as I thought that was going to be.
You put me on the spot. Okay?
Greed was right there. Like Greed and Ling was like there.
Yeah. It's like Greed and the general.
Nope.
You know, first act, the general's. I don't want to spoil anything.
But like I said, I'm still working my way to get to that point in the game, because once you get to that point where they are actively working together, like that is the bread and butter of what Ragebound has to offer. So probably by the time I finish this Act 2, when the game will properly sort of start. But I am enjoying it.
It's really like a Gundam, with a pilot inside.
We're really
the Gundam wing.
We're all the Shinji Ikari of our own Evangelions, if you think about it. Yeah. We're all the heroes of our own Gundam wings.
She's kind of like your Digimon partner and Kenji. Like, is the tie to her Agumon?
Ah, okay, yeah, I got that.
Where does Pikachu go when he goes in the Pokeball?
Well, that's the thing. He doesn't though. He hates Pokeballs.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, he's seen
for good reason. Whatever's on the other side is probably not good.
Yeah, he's like the Pokeball truther because the other Pokemon have no problem with it, and he's the one telling him like, no, you don't understand what's actually going on here. You guys get like the inside of Pokeballs is people. You need to stay out. It's the Soylent Green of the Pokemon universe.
And Pikachu's posting on like Pika Sky, like, wake up, people, the Pokeballs.
but it's just Pika.
Yeah.
It's the most adorable conspiracy theory you've ever heard. But yes, to get us back on track, it is fun so far. I love 2D action games. I'm a big Ninja Gaiden fan, and as of now, like it's clicking the boxes for me. Like, it plays extremely well, which I guess shouldn't be surprising because of the pedigree of the game kitchen and the studio involved. But this seems like a really fun, it just seems like a fun sort of retro throwback for the series. Because when was the last 2D Ninja Gaiden? Because, we've been getting the 3D ones that Team Ninja has been made, but has it been since the NES? Since like Ninja Gaiden 3, basically?
Surely there was probably some on Game Boy or DS.
Maybe, unless I'm just blanking on anything. But it's felt refreshing to see the series go back to its roots. Like, I'm enjoying it so far. I think I was like in the mood for something like this, Yeah.
I'm kind of in the same boat. Although I think I'm more in like a Metroidvania mood maybe than like traditional like 2D platformer kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm in the mood for something that's like a little more simple.
Yeah, see, I think I'm kind of like that too. Where it's like, I love Metroidvanias, but like every 2D action game tends to be a Metroidvania now. Like, I feel like we don't get enough of just like,
I've skipped
just give me a
side
scroller. Like, you're allowed to just do a side scroller. It doesn't have to be a maze. So,
I feel
that's totally fair.
I feel like there's been a hunger for it since The Messenger. I feel like The Messenger came out and people were like, oh, right, this was a style of action game that used to exist. We used to have a lot of them. We don't see a lot of them anymore, or they tend to just be in the Metroidvania bucket because that's a way of doing that style of game that people are very accustomed to. But with the rise of things like beat 'em ups and other older genres kind of getting new refreshes nowadays, it's been cool to see like this style of 2D action games specifically get an upgrade, get brought into a new light to new audiences who maybe didn't grow up with that stuff. Who only know of Ryu Hayabusa because of fighting games and a volleyball game. So
yeah, it's kind of like how I have similar feelings about the action genre, where it feels like every action game has to be a Souls-like and can't just be an action game. It's like, you guys, we can just do Devil May Cry or something. It doesn't always have to be. Not everything has to have Souls-like mechanics. Like, just make it an action game. It's cool. I'll play it probably. Yeah, Metroidvanias and Souls-like have been so in vogue that they tend to. They're both very oversaturated subgenres at this point. So I like going back to the old days, just keeping it simple.
Yeah. I mean, I was looking up, Marcus, just to see if there were other 2D releases. There wasn't a Nintendo DS game, but it was kind of like a 3D graphics. It was Dragon Sword.
What was it called again?
Dragon Sword.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And it kind of had like on the left side of the screen was like a top-down map, and on the right side, they kind of split the screen in a funny way.
Oh, did they do you have to hold it on its like vertical or like up and down like Hotel Dusk style?
Yeah, it looked. I'll have to look deeper into it, but I was just kind of like doing a cursory glance.
Do you want to guess?
And then before that,
I would say, before you get the Dragon Sword, do you want to leave Dragon Sword? Do you want to guess the Game Informer review score for it?
Oh yeah, okay. Let me just like take a look at like some screenshots real quick.
You had to hold it like a book. I love those DS games. It makes no sense for Ninja no sense for Ninja Gaiden. They should not have done it this way, but
they should have ported the mobile, because now we have those phones that fold out like books, so you can make it happen.
Yeah. Okay, so they did do the book fold split.
How would you play that? Because then like the control stick is down here and the buttons are up here. Okay. So are you doing this?
What if it's just
a
like stylus?
You have to play like a ninja, Eric. That's how ninjas play games.
You're right. Yeah.
It's like books.
Like that works really well for Hotel Dusk specifically, but I don't know that it works for Ninja Gaiden.
All right, I'm gonna look up a quick gameplay.
This is supposed to be like an on the spot, like you have to guess.
Listen,
you're doing research.
Okay, I'm watching some gameplay.
I'll put a number in without looking at anything but 2 screenshots. I'm going 6.25.
Okay.
I'm going a 5 out of 10.
Okay, Eric's closer. It was actually a 7.75.
That's surprising.
So not a bad score, like just shy of an 8. So it turns out
who wrote that review so we can shame them.
I'm looking at the Wikipedia page. I don't think they quoted us. I'm looking at the quotes from other outlets. You probably have to search on the website.
I'll have to go through the magazine archive to find it.
Yeah, that's a good that's a good way to promote the fact that you can read every issue of Game Informer magazine if you become a free member on the site. Just saying,
Yep. Every issue from 1991 to 2024 available for free. GameInformer.com.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Yeah, there was a Game Boy game, but it was Ninja Gaiden Shadow.
Don't know that one.
That was the art looks cool. It was in when did it release? 1985.
Well, I see.
It was a licensed edit of a proposed Ninja Gaiden Game Boy port, and serves as a prequel to the original game set in a retro-futuristic version of 1985. Oh, sorry, it wasn't released.
Yeah, it was going to say, like, it's released in 91. Like the Game Boy didn't exist in 85.
I saw 1985, but that was part of the story.
The game is set in 1985, yes.
Yeah. But thanks, Wikipedia. Appreciate you.
Yeah, don't blame Wikipedia.
No, hey, I donate to Wikipedia. We need Wikipedia as a resource in the age that we are entering. But, well, cool. That was Ninja Gaiden Ragebound.
Yeah, it's out
thanks
today.
For walking us through that.
On basically, cool. Or not today. It's out like this week as of we're recording. It's probably already out by the time you're listening to it, honestly, or listening to us. But yeah, it's on everything pretty much.
Switch 2.
Well, I don't think it's
PS5.
Maybe
not Switch 2, but Switch.
Yeah, it's out tomorrow, July 31st, at the time that we're recording.
Oh wait,
I guess I got to get used to differentiating
byline.
between the two.
Oh wait,
byline. Who is it?
It is Joe.
Joe Juba.
I believe that is a Joe Juba.
That does track because he was the action, like stylish action guy.
We were only doing first name bylines on this one, so I'm gonna have to go all the way back to the masthead to verify there wasn't another Joe.
Okay, if it's Joe Juba, I trust Joe Juba.
It is Joe Juba. Joe in 2010, it would have to be Juba.
Yeah, it's Joe Juba.
Yeah, I trust Joe Juba.
All right,
that's a good guy. All right, I guess we won't roast him. There's somebody else though.
My old boss, Joe Juba. We can't roast him.
No. Well, cool. Let's get into Wildgate, which Eric and I have been playing. It's I talked about it a few months ago on the podcast. I think actually Eric might have guessed it on that episode of the show, but it is, I think the quick and dirty comparison is Sea of Thieves in space. You are piloting a variety of different ships, so you can kind of unlock a few of them and kind of pick before you go into the match. Each of them have their own kind of quirks and benefits to them, and they're all a little structurally different. So you kind of have to get used to where things are placed in the ships. But zooming out, it is a PvPvE style game where you are loading into the nebula, the I think they call it, there's an actual like proper noun for it, but you're loaded into like space along with 4 or 5 other ships, all with like full human teams. So you are working together with up to 3 other people. So 4 person teams, and you're all trying to find something called the artifact, which is this cool glowy.
It looks like the precursor orbs from Jack and Daxter.
Oh, you're right.
It looks just like them. I think about it every time. Yeah.
Wow, that's a good call.
Yeah.
And you are trying to identify where this artifact is within the map while all the other ships and teams are doing the same thing. Identifying it, you have to sort of go through a gauntlet that's somewhat challenging and long. And once the artifact has been found and taken by you, everyone else is alerted of its whereabouts. And so you then have to wait enough time for the Wildgate, which is, the namesake
also
POI in the game.
Is it weird that every time you say the name, it makes me I want to hear you say it in the Wild Thing like melody, like Wild Thing, Wildgate. Like my brain wants you to say it like that.
I was thinking where the wild things are, and I was like, what? Is there a quote from the movie that you really like? Yeah, so the Wildgate is on a timer, and sometimes you can find the artifact and you have to wait a while for the Wildgate to open. And everyone on the map and once you've found the Wildgate, you can kind of see what the percentage is at before it opens. And then once the Wildgate is open, it is a sort of free for all to see who can get the artifact on their ship and escape to the Wildgate before they are destroyed.
It's an extraction game, basically.
Kind of.
I don't want that to scare people off. So yeah, you can take it away, Eric.
The thing that I think Wildgate does that's really, really smart is it eschews a lot of the things that other extraction shooters try to do. One of them is kind of the in-game progression, out-of-game progression. So in a game like Tarkov, where you get cool stuff and you extract it, and then you can bring it back into another whatever the opposite of an extraction is, like an intraction.
An incursion.
That's a good word. That's a $10 word right there. You're not really doing that. It has more of the cadence of just kind of a traditional shooter game where you're picking a character, you're loading in. You have different ships that you can unlock by choosing your battle. You set like kind of a battle pass progression type thing. I don't think there is actually a battle pass in this as of right now. There are progression tracks that you earn XP on and get like more skins.
It's similar
and
to how
stuff
Valorant works. Actually, people have played Valorant. You select a hero, and as you
like prioritize,
no matter who you're playing, you are kind of investing in their progression system, and then as you go, you will unlock items and cosmetics as you go. And that's kind of similar to how Wildgate works.
Right. So I stress all that because you're not trying to get something and get out necessarily. You're trying to either be the last crew standing or get the artifact and extract with it. And instead of having it be like, oh, I'm trying to get my stuff and get out and deal with players and kind of do that sort of social side of things in that respect, which can be cool in its own way, but can also lead to a lot of griefing, a lot of just trying to scrounge what you can and get out really fast type gameplay. Instead, you are really focused on the action, and specifically the action that your team is capable of doing, because they have tried, the team has tried to put together this set of different skills and abilities and ship types and weapons that might, incentivize you to want to play certain ways. Maybe you're running a faster ship, it's a little bit sneakier, can move a little bit, has better maneuverability. And so maybe you don't want to try and be the last crew standing. Maybe you want to get the artifact and get out before some of the larger warships can beat you in a straight on fight. But I think the other cool thing is that while there is shooting, and the shooting is really fun because there's a lot of zero-G in this game and a lot of really cool space physics that if you've played, say, Outer Wilds, you might get really into the idea of moving bodies within a zero-G environment and the sort of trajectories and thought process and planning you have to do in that environment. But also you have these cannons and you have piloting the ship and you have different systems that you can loot. So when you go into a POI, a point of interest, and you clear it, you do kind of the sub-objective in there, maybe kill some creeps, take out some eggs, fix some engines, or repair some things. Loot pops out, and you can get cannons, which are great. They make your ship stronger. You have better weapons. You can actually get special weapons that are limited ammo, so maybe like a super powerful sniper rifle or something like that. But then you also get little gadgets like a clamp jet, which is one of my favorites, that you can stick on somebody's ship or on your own ship and then you shoot it and it basically fires, and it's like hitting a fire extinguisher with a handgun where it just takes off really fast.
Yeah.
And so we were in a fight with a ship and I was like, hold on. And I grabbed a clamp jet and I jumped out the airlock, scooted my way down to the enemy ship, stuck a clamp jet on the top of it, and then shot it, and it just rocketed them down into an asteroid field at like out of control. And the whole time they're like, oh my god, what's happening, it's like cool moments like that feel very interactive and very different from what you would expect from a traditional first person extraction shooter type game. And I think those interactions are what make this game so interesting, is that you're not just kind of playing a traditional shooter. You have lots of moments where you're honestly panicking. You're freaking out. There's two ships coming at you from different directions. The artifact's been found. You're trying to figure out how you maneuver through an asteroid field and block cover, or get into a nebula cloud and hide and lay low, or repair things. And it's just constant action, but there's a great rise and fall to it too, where you have those moments of looting those areas and bringing stuff back and being like, okay, do we feel ready to fight? Do we feel ready to do stuff? Get on the probes, use these probes to fly around and scan things and scout people out. Oh, I see somebody probing us. They came from that direction. We need to like look out for that. And just so many cool little things. There was a game I played a long time ago on Unreal Tournament 2004. That was a mod for UT 2004, where you were on these hot air balloon zeppelins and they all had cannons on them, and you had to manually load the cannons with different ammo types and then light the fuse and then aim the cannon and fire it. And so if you matched up with a good crew of people, we'd be on voice comms, and like I'd be manning the cannon and aiming it, and somebody else would be loading it and lighting the fuse, and I'd be trying to track it. I'd be like, all right, ready, fire, fire, fire. Okay, give me the missile round. Stop putting cannonball in there. Let's do a different round. That'll work better at this distance and stuff like that. You have to lead shots because they're moving targets within that space. And it's so interesting because of that. It's so fascinating because of that. And so I think Sea of Thieves becomes the comparison, not just because you're in this sort of survival environment with a crew of people on a ship, but because it has that feeling of big maneuvering, almost lumbering bodies in a space, and that works so well.
Is it viable or even possible to play this by yourself? Like, is that
you can solo queue, but I don't think you can hop in with a ship just by yourself.
Yeah, you can do no fill. So I have played with 3 people. Actually, I was playing with Leo Vader and one of our friends, Samir, and we got a team bonus for only having 3 people on our team. And so the game introduced a few. So one of the mechanics in the game, or one of the systems rather, is your ship has a frost. You go out and collect samples of like these ice chunks from space and bring them back and deposit them in your ship's repository. And then every ship is powered by a reactor. And so the reactor has 2 functions. Number 1, the enemy team can come onto your ship, or you can go on theirs, and if you hold down the interact button, you can set off the enemy team's reactor, and it starts a countdown, and the ship will self-destruct after, I think it's something like 20 or 30 seconds. And then the other function that it serves is that when you're losing health, when your ship is being shot, and once they have penetrated your shields, which recharge over time, they can then hit your actual hull. And if your hull is hit, you take direct damage. And like every ship has a health bar. And every, I want to say like 10 to 15 seconds, there's a button on your reactor you hit. And if you have ice in your repository, then it will heal the ship, I think like 10 points.
Yeah.
And there are some modifiers you can get in terms of like how much health your ship has. If you blow up another ship and you go to their kind of the graveyard of the ship, you can extract their ship core and install it in yours for extra health. I think it's like 10% more health on your ship. And a lot of those like dynamics can also be at play mid-fight. So, having people board your ship, or sending Eric, go and try to steal one of their guns off their ship.
I boarded a ship at one point, took out the pilot and 2 of the gunners, and then tore a cannon off of one of their cannon emplacements, and you can use a button to teleport back to your ship after a short cooldown. So I took the cannon, teleported back, installed it on our gun like arsenal, and then just started firing on them with their own cannon, which was so cool and feels like you're kind of playing this again, pirates, outlaws, this sort of no laws out here. There's no chivalric code that we have to abide by in the way that we're fighting with each other. We're all just trying to get the artifact and get out, or be the last crew around. And you can do so much cool stuff with that.
And there's a lot of roles to fill on the ship. There's 6 or 7 different characters that you can play with, and they kind of fulfill. One of them is more of like I think his name's Adrian. He has a jetpack. That's his like core ability that lets him get places like really quickly, and he can he's like your explorer guy. Like if you want to attack another ship and board them, he can get there really quickly. There's another character. She can do like a long range teleport. There's this like badass looking goat guy, and he's like a ship defender, and he has a lot of perks. So like when people board your ship, he can see their outline through the walls, and he also has a couple other buffs when he's on the ship. So I think if somebody comes on the ship and the goat guy kills them, he gets like regenerative health. And there's a lot of different characters. There's several different characters. One is a robot who doesn't have to worry about managing oxygen. Whereas the other characters, you have an oxygen meter you have to worry about. And so if your ship gets blown up in certain places and the seal is broken, you will no longer have oxygen in your ship until you repair that part of your ship. And so there's a lot of that kind of at play, while you'll explore certain POIs, and there'll be certain challenges that, this area in the map, it especially drains your oxygen consumption. And so you have to kind of manage going and completing these objectives while also like, I need to get to this oxygen vent to make sure that I don't die on this little excursion. And Eric kind of talked about it. There's a lot of different, there's a lot of variety in the cannons that you can equip to your ship. Yeah. One of them, I love the sniper one. It's like super long range. There's another one that is sort of like a big charge shot. And the further you are away from them, the more damage it does. And so you're kind of like incentivized to kind of keep distance and hit these big shots. There's the quad cannon, which is just kind of like your kind of almost like a shotgun, kind of like just like your kind of mid-range, short to mid-range. It's
gun cannons. 2. If you start with gun 1, it's gun 2, and then it becomes just like a better improvement. I think my favorite one that I've had so far, I haven't found it in the release yet, but when we were playing the beta a while back, I had found one that was, you'd shoot, and then the projectiles you shot would follow your crosshair as you dragged it on the screen, and so you could kind of curve shots. So if there was an enemy trying to like hide behind asteroids or something, you could kind of curve your shots around there.
That's cool.
It was really neat.
I think my favorite one is the bomb one, where it takes 2 people. So you shoot out this big bomb and it sticks to the ship, and then your other teammate can be on a different cannon and detonate the bomb that you hit. And you can kind of target different systems. So you can target, you can shoot at their turrets to like knock out their turrets. You can shoot at their engines if you're behind them, and so they won't be able to accelerate as fast. There's a lot of different interactions within and on the exterior of the ships. And all of the ships have these things called hard points, and that's where you like kind of lock in your equipment. So you could get, we have a storm barrier, so now we can go into the cosmic storm and we can fight people or hide in there, and our ship won't take damage. Whereas without that attachment, you can't do that. There's another one that's like a fire shield, so we can kind of get close to certain asteroid clusters that will normally like set fire to your ship. And there's a lot of like different perks and abilities that you're kind of equipping and to your ship, and kind of like trading off. Do I want this? What's kind of our strategy to this game? What ship did we spawn in with? What are our POIs? Are we more gadget heavy right now? And all of these things kind of inform your decision making to where you're going to go next. And whether or not you want to fight. Do you want to kind of try to catch somebody by surprise? Do you want a third or fourth party, a big dog fight that's happening? Do you want to play more passive? It's got that like really that back and forth that you find in a lot of really great competitive games. And despite it kind of being this kind of extraction shooter in kind of like the multiplayer format, you don't really have to worry about that stuff. Like Eric said, like there's no like meta game that you're worrying about. The meta game is just leveling up your characters and unlocking new people. What?
There is there is a meta, and it is laser ram is disgusting.
I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. I should
okay,
say
metagame progression. Metagame, yeah.
Metagame progression.
I was like, there's a meta, and it's called the laser ram.
Meta.
And
yeah, the laser ram.
Look, Wildgate devs, if you're listening, first of all, thank you for tuning in. We like your game, but laser ram is crazy. That thing goes absolutely bonkers every time I see it. That's the one thing that I'm like, there's something about that specific weapon, or it's not even a weapon. I think that's maybe part of it, is that it's a hard point thing, and it ends up being this real game-changing attachment. It's a giant laser sword that just juts out of your ship that you can ram into people, and it does disgusting amounts of damage, and it also makes it really hard to kind of get unstuck from an opponent, because usually kind of the push and pull that you have is you move slower if your shields are up. And so dropping your shields is a potential way to risk taking damage to create more distance. Well, if you drop your shields when there's a laser ram inside of your ship killing everyone, it's a bad time. And if you don't, then you're just kind of going slowly, and you might not be able to get away from something. So that's like the one tiny thing that I kind of wish, I hope a future balance update addresses. But
yeah,
that being said, I think the highest praise I can give this game, it's a really high bit of praise, is that the foundation here is just perfect. It is, it makes so much sense for what anywhere the team could want to take Wildgate from here. I think it would work because you have such a good, solid core idea of ships, crews, guns. I mean, take out the artifact and the Wildgate, you could do a deathmatch mode. You could do sort of a respawning domination mode, King of the Hill mode, stuff like that. It would all work because the core function of these crews and the ships and the way that they interact with each other works so well that I could imagine tons of different things working in this space. And I think that is the best sign that this has some life in it. And, you know, in an era where live service games, they come and go pretty fast, I would like to see Wildgate live for a while, because I think it's got a really, really strong concept it's putting forward, one that feels different from everything else that's out there right now.
Yeah, and you say live service game, but it is a premium product. Like you pay, it's like $30. Like it's not like a free to play game or anything.
Yeah, there's like a store and that sort of thing. Like I think they eventually will. I don't know, who's to say where they take it, but it does have that kind of. There is a live service feel in some ways, like, and I think just in general, multiplayer developers are trying to get that lightning in a bottle, regardless of like the monetization method. But yeah, like you said, Marcus, it is a premium game. Like you're paying money for it, and the cosmetics are like, I will say, like I wish like some of the baked in cosmetics that you can unlock in the character tracks, I wish they were a bit more, had some more flair to them. But, and so they have like a store that is like honestly pretty reasonably priced if you want. I know like one character skin was like $5. There was a ship skin that you could get that's $10. And we'll see how that kind of shakes out. But all in all, like what you're getting for that full price feels really worthwhile.
I think
and meaningful.
An easy comparison point is Helldivers 2, a game that is also, you buy into it, but has been so well supported as a live service game with constant updates. And if the Wildgate team takes a similar tack and goes for a same, you know, kind of setup and drive, I think it's going to be pretty successful the way that Helldivers has been pretty successful. So I hope that is the route they take. Yeah, I'm constantly surprised. This publisher, Dreamhaven, I believe, which is a lot of ex Blizzard folks and stuff like that.
Is Mike Morheim?
Yeah. They also put out Sunderfolk earlier this year. There's been some really cool stuff coming out of that publisher specifically in a way that has made me take notice, because I do think the multiplayer space hasn't just needed something like this. It's needed a publisher that wants to kind of push the ideas forward a little bit, rather than kind of look at what is around and imitate or kind of use blueprints to build their thing. Instead, we see like a publisher that's putting out some pretty fresh ideas, some pretty cool ideas. And I really like that. I'm really excited for it. And both Sunderfolk and Wildgate have been huge surprises for me this year.
Yeah. They're definitely one to watch going forward. I'm having a lot of fun with this. I'm trying to just real quick see which platforms it's on so I can point people in that direction. I'll say it's cross-play. It's actually cross-progression as well. So if you link your accounts and you want to play on PC or console or whatever, you can kind of carry your progress over. It's on Xbox, PS5, and Steam for those interested. I'm really enjoying it. I'm going to keep playing it. I actually kind of want to play some tonight if I can convince Eric and the squad.
Twist my arm, man. Come on.
Yeah. But we will hand it back to you, Marcus. You have been playing roughly 5 hours of Silent Hill F?
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago, I took a trip to Tokyo to visit Konami's esports office, which I didn't realize was a thing that they had.
Silent Hill esports, let's go.
Yeah, the F stands for
Faker's in this one.
Faker, that's a guy, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a very well-known
that's a guy.
Esports person. Yeah.
He's a human male. We can confirm. But yes, we for a special media event, we got to play the first 5 hours of the game. And so, yeah, which was very exciting. I love horror. I love survival horror, but I'm only a recent Silent Hill. I don't know if convert's the word I want to use, because that suggests that I was had something against the series, but I came to it late. I was always a Resident Evil guy, and there was no shade to Silent Hill. It wasn't like Resident Evil all the way, screw Silent Hill. I just never got around to playing the Silent Hill games. You know how that happens sometimes, and there's two very similar franchises, and then you pick
that was
one.
me with Splinter Cell and Metal Gear. I was always a Splinter Cell kid.
I was the same way, but I was Metal Gear, and I was saying with I was a Ratchet and Clank kid, or not even kid, teenager really by that point, but never really got around to Jack.
I was Jack over Ratchet.
Yeah, and then the real ones played Sly Cooper, which I also played.
Hell yeah.
There's a dozen people out there who took that route. Yeah. Kenneth Shepard, much love to you.
Sly Cooper, very much. It's Sly Cooper, the 98 Degrees to the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC of Jack and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't until technically my first Silent Hill game was PT, which was originally going to be Silent Hills. And then, but after that, if we want to count a full game, weirdly enough, it was that free Silent Hill game that came out last year. What was it? The short message, the one that they shadow dropped after a Silent Hill transmission. I streamed that entire game. It's 2-3 hours, I think it takes to get through it. And then I played Silent Hill 2, not the remake, but the original Silent Hill 2 last year for the first time ahead of the remake, because I wanted to play the remake with informed opinion. And then I sat in, I guess then before that, I didn't play it, but I sat in for the entirety of our Silent Hill 1 Super Replay that we did a couple of years ago with Kyle and myself. So I've seen everything that happens in Silent Hill 1. That is all to say that Silent Hill F is a great jumping on point if you're like me and maybe don't have as complete of a Silent Hill history as maybe more hardcore fans, because one, it's set in the 1960s, so way before anything else happened really in the series, and also it takes place in Japan for the first time. It doesn't take place in Silent Hill, the town itself. It is set in a fictional town that I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce because it's a mouthful. But it's basically it is a small kind of secluded town out in the countryside, kind of a rural little village.
Ibusu Gaoka.
That's probably correct. It's like I know it starts.
I just looked it up
with an E.
I was like, I'll take a stab at this one.
Iwasu Gaioka. I took Japanese class in high school.
Oh, okay, nice. Well, more than me. I did learn how to count to 10 in Japanese ahead of this trip. I can do that.
Oh, perfect. There you go.
Yeah, I didn't get to use it though. But yeah, we got to also speak to the we did like group interviews with kind of the inner circle, the top brass there, because this is a Konami published game, of course, but this is developed by Neobards, which is a separate studio. Konami is not internal. Yeah, Konami is not developing this internally. They've given this to another studio.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
They worked on some DLC for Resident Evil Resistance.
Yes.
They like helped collaborate on some of that.
Yeah.
Which is a game that I completely forgot about. I played that thing. It was interesting.
If I remember correctly, Ryukishi 07 is also writing on this one.
Yes, he's the head writer who is are you familiar with his work? Because he's kind of like an acclaimed visual novel author.
Yeah, time for me to really expose the sicko stuff. Higurashi, When They Cry, and Umineko are pretty well known in visual novel spaces, and that was definitely something that made people take notice when the first announcement for Silent Hill F went out and Ryukishi's name was in there. That's Higurashi is a very well known horror visual novel, and Umineko, I haven't played all of Umineko, so I'm sorry. I'm maybe like a quarter of the way through it, and I never went back to it. I want to at some point. It's like the Ivanhoe of visual novels. It's huge. It's massive, or the Ulysses. But it's I think that was definitely, if you look at just themes, ideas, and the sort of vibe of previous work, Ryukishi has definitely worked in that sort of rural horror in Japan space before to success. So I think there was.
You just took me on a trip, Eric. You said Umineko, I heard Bloomin' and then my brain went to Bloomin' Onion.
Bloomin' Onion.
I was in a different world.
Wow.
Ryukishi's Bloomin' Onion.
I was in a different space. I'm back though. I came back.
Yeah, you came back from Outback.
Would you go to Silent Hill for a Bloomin' Onion? That's the real question.
Definitely not. I wouldn't even order a Bloomin' Onion at Outback.
They probably have an Outback because it is an American town, so there's probably an Outback in there somewhere. Just haven't seen it yet. I used to work in an Outback, so I have served more than my fair share of Bloomin' Onions.
Does that mean there's like a cheesecake factory in Silent Hill? There's got to be, right? There's always one. I feel like there's a cheesecake factory in all American towns.
God, Silent Hill Factory. Cheesecake Factory.
I was gonna ask the F. Did you get confirmation for what the F stands for? Because it looks like the musical symbol forte, and so that's always what I've thought the implication was.
So it was definitely asked in the group interview we did, and unfortunately they are being very tight-lipped about it. Like they gave us the vague kind of like, well, it could mean a lot of things. You're just gonna have to play the game to see and maybe interpret it for yourself, but we're gonna pass on that question. So still don't know what the F means exactly. But when I did ask them sort of like when they looked at previous Silent Hill games, like what was kind of maybe the entries that maybe served as the biggest inspirations for this game, and the creative director over at Neobards, Al Yang, responded by saying that it was definitely Silent Hill 1 and 2, which probably isn't super surprising, but then he also said Silent Hill 4 The Room was a big inspiration specifically for the combat in Silent Hill F. So to set the table, you play as a high school teenage girl named Hinako, who is a sort of like rebellious teenager. She's kind of described as being like very masculine, like kind of a tomboy, because her childhood best friend is a boy. She kind of rebels against sort of the feminine norms of the time, mainly because she has kind of like a very rough home life. Like she has an abusive father who is always kind of like terrorizing herself and her mother, and unfortunately her mother is like very subservient to their father. Like she doesn't really Hinako resents her mom. Like she hates her dad but resents her mom because her mom apparently does nothing to sort of stop their dad from being abusive. And I think that sort of like forms her sort of like, well, I I'm going to rebel just against the concepts of just like gender norms, pretty much. Of like, you know, the woman has to just sort of answer to the man no matter what and put up with all kinds of like BS. And kind of the only person that she likes in her family is her older sister. Like they sort of portray her as like, oh, she's like my hero. I love her. She's always been there for me. But unfortunately, her sister has since been married and has moved out. So she's stuck in this terrible home life by herself without that support system anymore. And so she has to rely on sort of her friends. Like I mentioned, she has a best friend named Shu, who she's been friends with childhood. And they have this very sort of like ride or die kind of relationship, because he always treated her as an equal of like, oh, I don't care if you're a girl, like you're my, and like his big trait is that he keeps calling her partner, because that sort of exemplifies like, no, you're not my sidekick, you're my partner, like we're, you know, even Stevens on everything, we're gonna go take over the world together. And then she has two other like female friends like Sakugo, who you might remember in one of the trailers where she calls Hinako a traitor at one point. And then another friend named Rinko. And so very quickly, you're going into this small town, and as you're hanging out with your friends, all of a sudden, without really any warning or explanation, familiar fog rolls through the town, and you see these like crimson red kind of like vein-like vines just kind of snake and take over everything. And everyone in the town, other than you and your friends, it just vanishes. Like it's like eerily quiet. And then you become separated. Some other gnarly stuff happens that I won't spoil. But very quickly you are thrown into like, oh, the town has just kind of been shaped into a nightmarish version of yourself. And you need to go find your other friends who may or may not be dead, and just kind of find a way to escape and also figure out like what is even happening here. So what I like about the game in terms of the design is that, unlike like Silent Hill 1 or 2, where you're kind of exploring the town, which is like really big, wide spaces, like monsters are roaming around freely, like you got the weird kind of like fleshy mannequin looking creatures that you've seen in other Silent Hill games. But in the older games, I always thought that the kind of wide design trivialized them as a threat, because you could easily just kind of run past them, like very easily, like unless you were inside of a building. Anytime you had to run outside and get to the next building, it was kind of just like, I'm just gonna run away from this guy.
It was Benny Hill. Yeah,
and they give up pretty easily. Where in this game, everything is a lot more narrow and corridor focused, because the town is a lot of like narrow alleyways and streets. So you can't really do that as well. So a lot of times you'll have to go down a pathway, and there's a guy right in front of you, and you're like, I have to go past that guy. Like there's no other way around him. And so the way you kind of circumvent that, like you can fight enemies if you want to. And going back to Neobar's Silent Hill 4 inspiration, apparently I've not played Silent Hill 4, but they were saying how that game had a lot more melee focused action. And so they took that here, where you're never going to use a gun. There's no ranged combat at all, apparently. Which makes sense, because Hinako is just like a kid, basically. So all the combat is melee focused, and you're picking up pipes and bats and knives, and weapons also degrade. So if you use something for too long, it'll break. You can repair them with like toolkits that you can find, but you're always kind of making the decision of, okay, I've got this bat that's pretty powerful, but do I want to wear it down on this enemy that's right in front of me, or can I try to like circumvent them in a way, because I just don't want to deal with that. And so if you choose the escape option, you have a dodge that you can do to sort of evade attacks, and it's all dictated by a stamina meter that you have. So when you dodge, if you do like a perfect dodge at like the last second, you'll automatically replenish the meter. But other than that, it just sort of functions as just like a, like, oh, I'm just going to get out of the way, just a little dodge there. And it kind of teaches you to sort of read the enemy movements, which are really quick and really erratic in a way that is just kind of like not only challenging from a gameplay perspective, but just kind of just disturbing, just kind of raises your hair to just see how things animate in the game. The other meter that you have is sanity. So sanity basically it takes hits from psychological damage. And the way that this works is that you have a ability called focus, where if you decide to engage in a combat, so you have light and heavy attacks, and it's very slow and deliberate and almost clumsy in a way that fits the character of like, she's not a fighter by any stretch. She's just a girl with a pipe just swinging for the fences, basically. So it feels it's like, it feels slow and not refined in a way that makes sense thematically. So you can just smash things on your own and just sort of like get by. But if you focus, you can sort of like really lock in on an enemy, and it makes it easier to see vulnerabilities that you can counterattack in. And the way you can tell is that during certain animations, the enemy will kind of almost like emit this sort of like glow. I don't even know if glow's the word. It's almost like a weird, like stuttery little effect, but it's like really quick, but it is like noticeable. And if you attack them when that happens, it like automatically stuns them and they can't move for like a second, and you can either wail on them or use it as an escape, just to run away. But you can only, and if you use focus, it makes this opening a lot more clear and maybe last longer. But the longer you focus, the more you drain your stamina meter. So you're kind of making a choice of what, like, is it worth using this resource on something? And I guess like I think contextually, I guess the idea is like, oh, you're forcing yourself to stare at this really scary, disturbing thing, so it's going to freak you out the more you're looking at it. You also have a focus attack, which is basically if you hit the attack button while you're focusing, you'll do this really powerful attack. Like, it's the most powerful version of your attack, but it costs you chunks of stamina to hit. But sometimes you can one-shot a weaker enemy with it, or at least severely damage a stronger enemy. But it's dangerous because there is like a wind-up to it, and if you get hit while you're doing this focus attack, not only will you lose sanity, but the sanity bar itself gets lowered. So now you have less overall stamina, even if you refill it. So you really have to kind of consider, like, do I want to use a focus attack right now? So this game, in almost a weirdly Souls-ish way, between that, like how important it is to read animations and also manage a stamina meter, it's got a Souls-ish kind of vibe to it that makes it adds to the intensity and sort of like the survival aspect, in the sense of like, not only are you managing, health items and weapon repair items in the way that you would in any other survival horror game, but also you're managing just sort of like your physical abilities of like, okay, I don't want to run out of stamina. I don't want to run out of sanity. I need to make sure these things are all tip top. It's really fascinating, but I think it works for the most part.
Okay. Yeah.
I do have a couple of like misgivings with the combat, though, mainly regarding the stamina meter. I think the stamina recovers a bit too slowly for how fast the enemies are compared to your movements. Like, so not only like the stamina, even if you don't completely drain it, like let's just say, you just use a chunk of it, there's like a good second and a half pause before it starts to refill. And that's like really slow for a stamina meter, in my opinion, because one, a lot of your movements do take out, it drains stamina meter pretty quickly, and also running drains your stamina. So if you're just trying to just get away from something, you are having to watch your stamina meter. And there were a lot of times where it drains so fast, it takes so long to recover, that I just was vulnerable to things. And Hinako is pretty fragile as a character. Like, she goes down pretty quick. And so there'll be times where like, oh, I took a swing at something, and then just so that he could get out of the way and I need to run past, and they're like, oh, I'm out of stamina and I can't move. And then all of a sudden this thing retaliates and just cuts me down immediately. Where it like, the more it happened, the more it felt like that feels a little unfair, just because it seems like if you're going to give me the option to run away, I feel like this needs to be a little bit more forgiving to do that. Like I'm running out of breath often. And also even just narratively, because like, I don't know how many other media people did this, but you have a journal in the game. It's like Hanako's journal. She fills it out. That's kind of, it's basically serves as like, oh, here's your profile on all the characters you meet. Here's the story thus far, that kind of thing. And she writes an entry about herself, and she mentions that like, yeah, I used to run track in school. And I'm like, you should have some fantastic stamina. Why are you running out of breath, doubling over every 2 seconds?
She didn't say she was good at running track, to be fair. She just said she did it.
That's a good point. I don't remember saying like I was winning gold medals left and right.
Yeah.
Though she probably wouldn't say that, because she doesn't have the highest opinion of herself. Like, one of her entries, like the first sentence that she describes herself is something along the lines of, "There's nothing extraordinary about me whatsoever." Like she's pretty, her self-esteem needs some work basically. So maybe she was great, but she's like, nah, it was trash. But yeah, her lack of lungs is a bit concerning. I was like, man, you should be better than this. But this the whole stamina issue definitely came to a head in a very big boss fight that happens that like presentation wise looks amazing. Like this thing that you're fighting that I'm not going to spoil, it looks just, you look at that thing and you're just like, oh my god, what is that? What is that? Like, don't like that. Get that. And it's funny because in the demo room they had a physical model of it that was just like looming over us the whole time, just like, and I was like right next to it, so I was like, this is a creepy thing to have next to me.
Yeah, I dislike those so much. Every time there was it the Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree event where they had a giant recreation of Mikola's hand coming out of the giant flesh egg.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was did you touch it?
I hugged it. I took a picture of me hugging the arm.
Yeah, no, I definitely took a picture of like next to the arm with like it like next to my face being like, oh, and then I was like, oh, it was disgusting. So, and then every time I saw it, I was like, oh.
So at least that was an arm. This thing is far worse.
How many arms are we talking on this one?
Normal arms, but
normal arms. Okay.
Let's say it looks like a child. But like the child had its like mouth ripped off and just had like a gaping fleshy thing and had a lot of pins, like really sharp pins just sticking out of it at different places. Okay. And its eyes were missing. And yeah, it just looks like, just nightmare fuel pretty much.
So a little like Hellraiser-esque kind of.
A little bit, but also a little like angelic too, because it's wearing like priest robes.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's carrying like a big old hammer that is also like covered in spikes that it swings at you.
Oh, that seems bad. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so you're fighting this thing later in the game, and this fight was unbelievably frustrating. And I knew it wasn't just me because I would look around at other media people, like, you know, it's the journalists and influencers playing, and everyone was stuck on this fight for a while. Like it became like and I was talking to people afterwards, like, how long did it take you to beat that weird demon girl? And they're like, it took me an hour. And that was like the common, like the average of like, it took me like 40 tries. And a lot of everyone seemed to have the same thing of like, yeah, I just felt like I just kept getting tired constantly. Like I didn't have the stamina because it is a very Souls-esque fight of like having to dodge attacks in succession, which drains your stamina. And because it takes forever to recover, the moment you run out, you're just like vulnerable for way too long. And that thing retaliates so quickly and it hits so hard. It's like 2 hits, you're done. And, you know, so you're trying to dodge like, let's say 3 attacks in a row and then have enough to try to get some damage in. And, you know, it was a fight that just dragged on too long. And it felt like your stamina just could not handle what was being thrown at you. And by the time I beat it, it was just like, I felt like I just kind of eked it out a little bit. Like it didn't feel totally like, yeah, I learned my lesson and got good. It's just like, I just did the best with what I had and then had, I don't know, it felt like some degree of luck involved. The only other things that you can use to sort of like turn the tide in your favor is that you can collect these equipable charms called Omamori. Like you can only equip one at a time, but they basically give you passive like perks of like, oh, maybe you're, I don't know, you do a little bit more attack damage, or maybe your stamina, your dodge window is a little wider, like stuff like that. So I was trying to swap through all the ones I had to try to make this fight a little more bearable. Yeah, it was rough. And it also sucked because, at least in my specific case, I didn't have all the healing items I could have just because I just entered the fight when I had to run through this already hellish gauntlet to get to it. And then I had like maybe 2 heals left, and it didn't replenish my heals because you just load your last save instead of just starting the fight from like a fresh slate. So I was like, oh man, if I had no like heals, would I have more or less saved myself into a corner and had to reload like a way earlier save and then try to run through a large section again with most of my items intact? Like that seems like that could potentially be a problem. So yeah, like that, it almost feels like that's a little maybe too old school survival horror in that case. But yeah, other than that, when you're not fighting and running away from stuff, I do like I love the atmosphere of the game. Like I love the level design. I do like that everything's a little bit more corridor focused because it makes it scarier that you kind of have to throw yourself in front of things a little more often. There's like cool optional things that you can find because like in between you have a big map that kind of just tells you at all times like, hey, this is what you need to go to. Like it does the Silent Hill 2 thing of like, oh, if you hit a dead end, it marks like as an X on the map, and then your objective's always painted in like a circle or whatever. But in between heading to wherever you need to go, you can find like certain buildings that are open, and there might be like side little puzzles or stories. Like I went into like a doctor's office at one point that had like a little self-contained like puzzle and like enemy that was in there that like got me an item once I solved it, and then like little lore bits of like, oh, what happened to this doctor? Like he's the town doctor, everybody knows who he is. What's up with him? Is he all right? Like that stuff I love. And whenever you are inside of a building, that is when it gets the most Silent Hilly. Like there's like towards the end of my demo, you go to your old middle school, and that was probably my favorite. And when I talk to other media people, that seemed to be their favorite parts, because that's when it just becomes like, okay, this is like straight up classic Silent Hill survival horror of like, you're in this middle school, there are locked doors, you're trying to find keys, you're solving these little puzzles in there, enemies show up at a certain point, but in really like creative ways. And it's like, oh yeah, this school sequence like is pretty cool. And there's like really cool moments outside of that. Like there's a point where you're like exploring the farm and like a farm at some point, and dealing with like these like scarecrow mannequins and solving a puzzle where you're trying to find like the correct scarecrow in like a bunch of them, but some of them are alive and you don't know which ones are alive, and because they all look like they're gonna come alive and kill you, but you don't know which ones they are. And then if you find the right one, it points you in the right direction, because it does like a Lost Woods kind of thing of like, oh, you're in a foggy area, if you just run through the fog, you're gonna wind up back where you were, so you need to find the correct route. Like that stuff is cool. And all the puzzles I did find, they were all for the most part generally like pretty clever and like fun to solve. There's only a couple that I was like, I don't know if I totally understood what I was supposed to do, and I sort of bumbled my way through it, but those were definitely, at least in the batch that I played, like the minority. And then the story stuff seemed interesting. Like you do meet up with your friends eventually, like this isn't a spoiler, like it's pretty soon. And a lot of the sort of drama comes with kind of the interpersonal relationships within them. Like your friend Shu, who's like your best friend, like it's implied that he might have a bit of a crush on you, but Hinako is seemingly not interested. And then, but you have another friend like Rinko, who is like maybe a little obsessed with Shu and wants to be in a relationship, and maybe resents you a little bit because you're his closest friend and he seemingly isn't interested in Rinko, but you're not interested in Shu, and she's annoyed that like he likes you but you don't care and it's like not fair, so which is like another like Silent Hill thing of like meeting these weird characters that have some like personal hangups that seem like, I've only scratched the surface of what's going on with them, but you can kind of see a little bit of like, okay, there's some stuff here, as well as like Hinako's own like personal trauma.
I will say I really got stuck on what the Silent Hill F could mean. And I have done a deep dive.
Van Aken has been in the Mind Palace.
I have been in my Mind Palace. And while I don't know what the F stands for, I did find some really fun facts.
Is that what the F stands for? Fun facts?
I think so. Yeah. In this episode, it does.
Silent Hill fun facts.
So the setting, Silent Hill F, according to Capcom, is drawn, the Ibisu Gaoka is inspired by the real town of Kaneyama in the Gifu prefecture. And there is they kind of shared some screenshots. It's like, oh, that looks really familiar to the game. So I went and looked up some stuff about Kaneyama in the Gifu prefecture. And there's actually a section of the town that is called the Kankatsu alleyways. And they are, if you look up the Kankatsu alleyways, they look like they could be like screen grabs from Silent Hill. And I found a travel guide about Kankatsu, and it's visitgifu.com. But Kankatsu, I'm reading this quote, by the way. Quote, Kankatsu is the local Kaneyama phrase that's used for narrow alleyways that intertwine so intricately that they resemble the muscles and the bones of the human body. And I found out that the Kaneyama, that Kankatsu, the term literally means sinew and bones, and it's used to refer to the back streets of Kanayama. And I'm reading from hietsunojapan.com, which is a travel blog. These narrow, intertwined back streets are said to resemble the sinews and bones of the human body. Nostalgic scenery remain around the Kanayama-juku rest stop at the Hitakaido Road, which has flourished as a post town since the Edo period. Immerse yourself in a retro feeling. It's like being on a movie set, and enjoy a rustic dining experience at a Japanese confectionery shop.
I love that this was the journey that you were on this entire time. Like you were just.
Did you hear a word I said, Alex?
You were playing Da Vinci Code over here. Like we're here. Like, oh, Silent Hill. Yeah, let's talk about that. And you're like, well, if you look at where Mary Magdalene is sitting in the final.
Well, I have found we should the next time we go to Japan.
He was booking his trip to this town. Just checking.
Yeah, I have like found. We got to do a video on this place. The Kinkatsu footpath within Kanayama inside of the Giku prefecture. It's Silent Hill F, man. Because originally it started, I was like, Silent Hill F, could it mean Fuji, which is a town in Shizuoka, which is a seaside town I've been to that I was looking at the screenshots from the game, and I was like, I feel like I've been here. And then I got led down this path.
I mean, I wonder if it's like one of the big themes with this game that they were talking about. Fog. That would be, I hope not. It's so obvious that it's like, man, that'd be Silent Hill fog. They're like, it's this new idea we're trying. What if there was fog in Silent Hill? One of the big things with this game they were talking about, and one of the reasons they said in Japan, was that they wanted to go back to like traditional Japanese horror, and they felt like with subsequent entries over the years, it felt like every Silent Hill since the first one lost a bit of that because it's set in Western in America. So they were like, one of the big things that sort of defines Japanese horror is basically like grotesque beauty, where like it's a terrifying looking place, but there's also something like beautiful about it, of like in Silent Hill F has that, where like the weird kind of red growth that takes over everything. It looks disgusting, but it looks kind of pretty because it kind of looks like flower blossoms a bit. So like a lot of especially like the bigger kind of like boss zombies, they kind of look like these moving like
flower.
Yeah, like evil flower things that are like gross, but they're like covered in like red blossoms. And you kind of look at it like, ew, but then also, that's in a different context. This is kind of like, I don't know if pleasant's the word I want to use, but like, that could be pretty. If it wasn't swinging like a giant blade at me, I could appreciate this.
You also have the dynamic between the two characters that you mentioned earlier. It could be Silent Hill Friend Zone. You never know that. It could be that.
That's true.
Silent Hill friends we made along the way.
That one doesn't ring true, Poe? No? Okay.
Yeah.
It's not Friend Zone.
I think it's just fog. Silent Hill fog.
It's Silent Hill fog. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Forte. All right. I like when musical influence arrives in video games. It makes me happy. I'm going to pretend it's Forte.
I can't confirm the music I heard. Very good. But, you got composer, longtime composer Akira Yamaoka on it.
Are we kind of getting like the post-rock guitar vibe of like Silent Hill 2?
No, not really. It's a lot more... a little bit more traditional Japanese. Like we were asking him, like, how he changed the sound design for this game. And he's like, yeah, I kind of had to rethink everything. One, because of the time period, and also that it's just set in Japan proper this time. So he's kind of like, I wanted the game to sound distinctly Japanese in that way, but also like that evoked the 60s era, which, their 60s is a lot different than, what we think of the 60s in the US.
Yeah.
Fun fact, they also had in the room, they had snacks that were specifically from the 60s, like that we could eat. They were like, oh, we want you to kind of like immerse yourself. So here's all these like traditional, like these were the snacks of the era that still exist today that you can try. So I tried a little bit of everything. I was like, oh, this is fun. And they're like, yeah, this is what kids were eating back then,
Yeah.
But
what was the best one? What was your favorite?
Yeah, what limited edition Oreo flavors did they have back then?
They had these little mini donuts that were pretty good. I got like 2 of those. They were like packs of like little 4 mini donuts that were kind of like...
Donuts are my favorite dessert, by the way.
Really? I don't think I knew that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love donuts.
It's weird because you can't normally get a donut as a dessert. Like you can't go to a restaurant and say, I'd like a donut at the end of this, please.
I think if somebody told me like name desserts, I think I would get through a lot of foods before I got to donut.
I mean, you're in Austin, Eric. Like Voodoo Donuts is a thing.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of
Voodoo Donuts is great.
Yeah, but that's a breakfast item.
Yeah, but if you save them, they're
or like
also
you think of it like
Krispy Kreme. Growing up on the East Coast,
yeah,
we had Krispy Kremes, and you could hit the late night drive-through. You could be 12 a.m. hitting the Krispy Kreme. It hits, man.
Hot signs on.
I mean, yeah, I guess. Like the thing about a Krispy Kreme is it's really good for like the 3 minutes after it comes out from the oven, and then it turns into just sugar bread, like
it's
stale sugar bread.
Good. I mean, you want it hot, but it's still good when it's like.
You can make a little bread pudding, put a little milk in there, put it on the stove top, bring it back to life.
So you got yourself a stew, baby.
You know, reconstitute it.
Donut stew is my favorite dessert.
You put on the bear attire, and now you're acting like Carmi over here.
Yeah.
It's my reconstituted Krispy Kreme.
Yeah.
I'll also add one of the big things that was revealed during our time here was that the game Silent Hill F has multiple endings. You know, in classic Silent Hill fashion, I believe they said it's 5 total, including the classic
5.
Oh, yeah. There we go. Add it to the list. Silent Hill 5 endings. Maybe it's 5 boroughs. Who knows? But also
Silent Hill to the 5 boroughs is crazy.
It's also so one of the endings is that they're doing the UFO ending again, which is like a classic like silly sort of like Silent Hill ending. But what's also interesting is that so the first playthrough of this game, everyone gets the same ending. It's not till you beat the game once that you can then have the ability to get the other endings. So basically what they want you, like they were telling a focused story the first time around, but they're like, after that, if you want to replay the game, then all the things you do in terms of like, I don't know what the decisions are. Like there was no like choice driven dialogue or anything like that. Like if you played like Silent Hill 2, for example, it was a lot more like what determined how you got the different endings was sort of like how you engage with certain puzzles or when you did certain things. I assume it's like that. But it was hard for me to get a sense in this first 5 hours of like things that I did that I would think like, oh, in the second playthrough, maybe this was like a diverging point. You know what I mean? But maybe the only thing I could think of was there was one point where I went to a location outside of the objective, and I got like a little cutscene that played that basically the characters were like, hey, you're not supposed to be here, this isn't where we're going. And it was like a little bespoke moment. I was like, oh, could I have not seen this if I didn't just go over here? And I was talking to other people, they're like, oh, did you go to this place first before you went to the other place? Like it was like the home of one of your friends, basically.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, I got that cutscene too, but I was trying to find someone that did the objective first and then went back to that place, and I didn't find anyone. But I'm wondering if that could be a point, like having that interaction would maybe play into one of the endings. But yeah. I think that's a cool idea. The idea of like, I don't have to. I'm one of those people that like can sometimes feel a little not stressed, but when you know that there isn't like one true ending, you kind of wonder when you do get your ending, like, did I get shorted? Like, is this a bad ending? Especially with Silent Hill, or like, have I missed anything? Did the game end sooner than it could have? And I'm just not aware yet until I see the other endings. You know what I mean? So it kind of makes you want like second guess the things that you do. They also made a point of saying they don't describe the endings as good or bad. Like they're like, none of the endings are like that. It's all up to interpretation, what you make out of them. So at least don't feel bad about like, oh man, Hinako's head got chopped off. Guess I got the bad ending. But
it's not about the ending. It's about the Silent Hill friends we made along the way. That's
exactly
what the F stands for.
That's what I was saying. You're on board.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Let us know, chat, whether it's YouTube or Spotify, wherever you're listening. What do you think the F stands for? I would love to know.
Yeah. You can now comment on Spotify, by the way.
Yeah, so. I've seen the comments on Spotify. Shout out to everyone over there.
That's the best way to open our Spotify comments is to tell everybody to post their favorite F word in the chat.
Do you think it actually the F changes at the end and it just says, I don't know, New Avengers?
It was actually an E the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, cool. I think that's going to bring us to the end of the show this week. Thanks, Marcus, for informing us all about Silent Hill F.
Yeah, should mention I'll have like a more fleshed out preview on the website at this point that you can read as well.
Head over to GameInformer.com for that. And while you're over there, go to GameInformer.com/subscribe. Lock in a print or a digital subscription to our magazine. It's a great product. We are really happy with it and really believe in it, and hope you do too. Hope you consider supporting us in that way. Thank you for listening to the show this week. Of course, you can follow Eric Van Allen at Seamoosi, SEAMOOSI, on social media. And you can follow Marcus at Marcus Stewart 7. And you can follow me, Alex Van Aken, at It's Van Aken on Blue Sky and Instagram. Of course, while you're at those places, be sure to follow Game Informer to keep up to date on everything going on in our world. And until next week, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and have a great week. Bye, everybody.